What is going on, guys? And tonight we are back in the mix. Playing a little Dirty Dozen mix for you guys today. We're playing a little 1530. I got dealt out one hand here. We're starting with triple draw. Depending on the speed of the game, because sometimes I would say games like 1020 and above can take a little longer. We'll see if we go for a full gamut or make this two-part video. But right now we're starting with deuce to 7 triple draw, PLO capped, Badacey ace to 5, Razz, no limit deuce to 7 single draw, limit Omaha 8, limit hold'em, 7 card stud, Badeucey deuce to 7, no limit hold'em, Badugi, and stud 8 or better. So we gotta wait one hand, but as always, if you guys like what you see, please like and subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave those down below. See if I can fix the window here just a little bit. Oops, sorry. If you guys need to contact me in any ways, reach out to me. My email is also down below. You guys are looking, you can still record 1 hour on Phenom. Send it to me. I can review it with or without you, and I'll post it up on YouTube. Also, if you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, there is a link down below. Please click on that. Also, if you have the option of using code LMG at sign up, that is an option as well. Deuce 7 here in the big blind, deuce 7 triple draw. Start out here, 7, 5, 4, 3, deuce best hand. We're going to defend here in the big blind, drawing 3. Even though an under, they're going to open. We're still going to call and draw 3 here. Let's take 1. We improve to 1 card 8. We've thrown 1 8 away as well, so we're going to check call and draw 1. Even if I was improving to like the perfect 1 card draw here, I'm still just going to check call. We do catch a 3. So we're going to bet in this situation. We make number 10. We're going to pat. And if he pats behind, I still think we bet 87. Since he didn't raise, I don't think he has 86 here. Yeah, 97. He was missing the deuce most likely, so he raised it again through 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. It's a hand that's really tricky. I did draw 3 in the big blind. His hand is quite close. I think probably calling 97, maybe folding 98 is... It's really, really close, I would say. I probably do have some rough draws there. And there's just sometimes that, like, I pat out of position. I bet and pat out of position with a really rough hand. So I think his play is probably okay. 3, 3, 8 here on the button. I think it's a little bit too rough. We're going to fold. But I think I mentioned it, but the best thing is 7, 5, 4, 3, 2. Aces play high in this game. Straights and flushes do count against you. Insert button here for anyone who doesn't know. This is Nathan Gamble. He's, I think, won 2 bracelets. He might have, I think he's got 2 bracelets. I think they're both in PLO 8. Plays that game quite well. He's also an instructor on Run It Once, I believe, still. He was, not sure if he still is or not, but I think he is. I do not have a Run It Once account. So if anyone wants to let me know, you guys can let me know. What do we got next? We got deuce to 7, PLO capped, Badacey Razz, no limit single draw. So if we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So after limit Omaha 8, we'll see how long the recording goes for. Because like I said, in this format, sometimes when you start playing a little higher limits, the games are a little bit slower. People just take their time making decisions. Now, usually when you see like a 1-2 spot and there's no bet, I don't think bet 3 bet pre-flop. So it looked like it checked through. Sometimes that's a rough draw. Now on this river here, you should be betting relatively thin. Like now queens go up in value. Some kings are probably bets as well when your opponent takes 2 in position. 4, 7, 8, even with some blockers here, and like an 8 and 9, this is still a fold. Also, again, this is Dirty Dozen. I really enjoy this one because, again, this is one of those mixed games. If you've come from like a no limit or PLO background, you can jump in. Not obviously like if you're a low limit player, you can start at the lower limits. But Dirty Dozen is definitely one of those games where you can still play some big bet games while at the same time learning some of the mixed games. It's got all the horse games. I believe it's got all the 10 game, the 8 game. Does have 8 game for sure. I think 10 game too because it's got no limit deuce and Badugi. All right, PLO capped. 4, 6, 9, 8. I think this is really close double suited. I think this is probably still a fold under the gun, even with the ante, just because it's a little bit too broken up and we're in early position. Again, nice thing about recording and making videos, I can always go back and check it at a later time. But again, with that ante in play, it's just worth a lot. See here, Buddha even limped on the button here, so he does have that in play too. Team lid's out for here for 2/3, so he's kind of representing, let's say, like some sort of maybe weak aces up, maybe some sort of draw as well. When Buddha limps here, though, he doesn't necessarily have to have like an ace. I don't think that board in general, like if Buddha raised that button and like Demi called, the ace high board definitely favors Buddha, but when Buddha limps there, I think equities change pretty significantly. King 10 deuce 7 here is pretty bad here. I think this is just a muck. Suited king, it's probably still a fold, but again, it's probably not that far off from being a call. Jack 9 10 deuce here. Probably depends on the raise size and the position. This is probably still a fold too. Probably, again, it's relatively close just because we got the Jack 9 10, but since we have the suited 9 out of position, my guess is this is probably a fold to an under the gun open range. Bets, I think range here can be a little bit wider from my experience with him, but I could be wrong too. Definitely seems like the board texture, more high cards, is going to probably favor the underground open range. Again, man, all these hands are like relatively close. It'd be interesting if I post what is it? PLO trainer thinks about like a lot of these hands. Like obviously to raise this hand becomes a fold, but had this folded to me on the button, this actually might be a limp and then fold to any action. Now, again, this game is a little bit different because you can't take those ranges at face value. The reason being is because in this game, if someone pots it, they can make it 5x. And if they make it 5x, a lot of your range that you might be included in your limp range, like your limp calling range, is probably removed. Oh, kind of interesting here. That seems pretty crazy. That seems okay. I think Serpbum's jam is probably, I didn't see his hand. I gotta go back to this hand. This seems a little bit, let's see here. I'm gonna 8 3 3 4 here. Once I pull this up, once I get this hand going here, I'll so raise, call. Okay, we'll get this. All right. So I'll add a window here. Hold on. Window capture. Silver. Okay. Sorry, as I add it. You can see here. Let's blow it up just a little bit. Go back over here and move it over. So we see that if we go back here, we can see that Nathan jams flop, and with a person behind, the king 6 6 7 here has to be down in value. Like this hand could be drawing pretty dead on that board. 10 10 9 4. Again, this is probably close to a limp. Like these are all hands I might just put in the comments and see like relative equities for everyone if they want to go back and look at this, because these were probably all close, depending on the situation. To a pot size open, this is my mind. This has to be a fold. Oh, I left it open. I am sorry. Hold on. That's my bad. So Demi full potted here, and we folded our hand. But he made it 5x, so we folded. But again, I'm going to go change the 1 second here. I didn't realize the size was so big, so forgive me for a second. Forgive me for a second. There we go. And then, yeah, what happens here is that Mr. Shadow jams with the wrap. I think Nathan's jam is fine once he gets in there. And I think, again, his hand is probably a call with Queen 10, Jack 3. Slightly different than the Jack 10 9 deuce that I had, plus his queen is suited. So his hand is actually probably a call. Again, one of those things we can throw into the solver later and kind of check our math. But I think Let's see here. I think Bet's jam here is just not that good. And then obviously Mr. Shadow here backdoors the flush, and he scoops. All right, Badacey, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best low. 4, 3, 2 ace is the best Badugi. Ace deuce 4 with an 8 low. It's going to scoop that one. Aces are, they do play low in this game. Flushes and straights don't count against you in the 5 card portion, but if you do have a flush, you are drawing pretty thin. Defend here against a small blind open, but we get a walk. We will not defend this one if one of these 3 players over here open, but against Nathan here, I believe we're going to open the deuce 6, plus we have a couple other cards. This is probably about as rough as I go right here. This is really close. Obviously, this might be like even like a neutral open. But again, you got to think to yourself sometimes. It's like, if I open this, is it better for me to lose half of a bet than to open and try to get some of it back? I would say that's kind of a rough way to think about it. Bet, 3-bet out of position there. And looks like he still has the lead. If anyone's going to be in Vegas this summer, I plan on being out there the first week, I believe, of the World Series. I have about 4 events I think I'm going to play. But like I've said before in a couple of my videos in my past, my days of spending 7 weeks are over just because I have kids, and in the foreseeable future, I don't see myself traveling out there with them. So, and they're all young too. So my plan is to, I think, go play the 1500 the 10K 08, the 1500 mixed Omaha 8 or better, and the 1500 PL 08s. Those are kind of cool. I would like to stay for the 1500 Big O, but I think it's just it's a timing thing for me. So more than not, I think I'm just gonna have to call it on that one. I might play the dealer's choice. I think that's also an option, but I think if I do that, I run the risk of missing one of the events that I can't remember which one it is. So we'll see. But if anyone's out there and wants to come say hi, should be available. So we are on our 3rd game as of right now. Okay, where are we at right now? About 15 minutes. We'll see how it goes. We're in Razz, ace to 5. Slightly different, obviously different in deuce to 7. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best low in this game. So basically a wheel is your ace to 5 wheel, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I would say, like, depending on what your holding is here, you're doing a lot of folding against an opponent who catches a second wheel card. This is definitely a good hand to steal with. It kind of becomes a cat and mouse game with these cards over here, the 9, 8, and 4. Like, the 9, I don't think should be opening too much. And now I do block a lot of the cards that the 9 needs, but if he's opening into the field, he probably has them. So we're just going to let that one go. But I'd say, like, if the 4 opened, you could actually consider, like, re-stealing with the you could consider re-stealing with the ace deuce. Probably at like some, I wouldn't do it every single time, but definitely a hand if your opponent gets a little too frisky, you could consider doing it, because you definitely, again, block hands that he wants, cards that he wants. And here Dimmy's probably got to be pretty careful if he doesn't have a really smooth draw, because he could just be drawing dead so often. If he can't beat like a 7-5 or 7-4. Ace 3-8 here, we are going to play 2 deuces are dead. We do have the 3 up, so I'm going to open this one. I think Nathan's going to play back at us at a pretty high clip, but we're not folding this hand, so gonna call. And he catches a dead 3, which is obviously really good for him. 2 of them are dead. But we still call with the 8 draw. I think we're gonna bet this one. We're gonna bet this one and probably check the river now because he's got 2 pair. And he must have just had a brick or maybe even like a full house, I guess is possible. But once we run off, when he runs off, like even though we had, like our board has no pairs, we have 4 to 1 8. His board has 2 pairs. There's not much we can do in that situation except just keep betting for the most part. There are situations in which your board runs out like okay, and your opponent's board runs out, I would say like kind of mediocre. But like say in that example, if like another deuce had been dead and now both 3s are dead, and he had 3 bet me, like if I had like 8, 7, 6 on my board, that's a situation where I might consider actually checking, just because it's so, he didn't pair the 3 and it's unlikely he has like a pair of deuce or something like that. Ace 8 5 here to erase and re-erase. We're gonna let this one go. We also need 2 deuces in our hand. 6 helps us as well. So some of the cards that mean are dead. If you think I'm a nit, just let me know. Put them in the comments. Someone talk to me. No, I'm just kidding. Kind of an interesting hand here, running out. Timmy's drawing at a jack. And I mean, Mr. Shadow bets the river. Yeah. I mean, I kind of understand why he does it. Deuce, deuce with a 1-card 10 draw under the gun. This might be a pretty nitty fold here, but I think I'm going to let this one go. Not much playability with my hand, realistically. Like if I get re-raised, I hate it. I'm probably just going to fold. And even if I draw, the best hand I can make is 10-9-4. And again, there's not much like playability is hard with that one. Like this one I would open on the gun for sure, the 4-card 9. And against the 3x here, we're just going to call and draw 1. Could do some 3 betting, but I think just calling and drawing 1 is fine. Out of position here. Draw 2. So now I have 3 9s in my hand. So I'm going to go ahead and bet half pot against draw 2. And that one does work. A lot of people I would think would probably go for like the really large sizing there in that situation. And against an opponent drawing 2, I don't think you have to go that size. That's a good question, I think, for Chris. Now, there is, as you can see, Demi went 3x and Nathan shoved. In the past, I've definitely said that like that's usually not a thing. For the most part, it isn't. I mean, that's a very, very, very deep shove. But I have to imagine that it does exist, because if you do look at like some of the solves at like 40 big blinds and no limit hold'em, depending on the action, I think the solver would theoretically shove some hands. Usually it goes for, I think, the 3x sizing, but there are some hands it shoves. But I am not a I'm not quite sure, like in no limit deuce 7 single draw, like what those hands typically look like. Interesting here with the jack and the 10 redraw. I think we're going to 3-bet Demi. We're in position. We don't have to make it like bigger per se. And if someone jams, we just fold. If he re-raises us, we probably just fold. And then if he stands pat. With jack 10 here, I think we're just going to draw 1. I don't think jack 10 is like necessarily good enough. And 10-9 in this spot, I think, is kind of close. We did have a jack, though. I think I'm actually going to be a little bit nitty here. Just check this one back. He does have jack 9. But having jack in my hand, it makes it just like a little bit less likely he has it. And I have one of the worst 10s that I could possibly have in that situation. Again, if you think I'm a nit, let me know in the comments. I definitely think that Demi probably has a fair bit of jacks, but breaking 1 and then basically making the worst 10 that I could probably have in that situation is kind of effectively like having a good jack. So not quite sure if I get called on that river or not. Well, it looks like we're going to probably do the whole recording tonight, just because this is the 6th game. It looks like it's playing pretty quick. So yeah, live in Omaha 8 or better. best game ever invented. You will always hear me say that. Oh, that would have been a brutal river from my hand. Live 3 and 2 pair. Kind of close, I think. Just because like your opponent's most so likely to have like maybe like an ace and a deuce in their range if you don't have it. 6684 here. Probably would have been an defend against Nathan, honestly. Not really doing much. Probably like slightly break even call, but against the 3-bet, this is just going right in the muck. And interesting one with the ace deuce deuce 10. Good 3-bet by Nathan here. Or sorry, 4-bet pre-flop. It's just hands too strong. Ace deuce king 10. And Mr. Shadow's 3-bet honestly it's close to a fold being rainbow. Having the pair of deuces doesn't necessarily like help him. It's not like if he makes low, he gets 2 lows because he has 2 of the deuces. It's probably actually really close to a fold. Jack 3-8-4, muck it. And even if folded 2 on the button, we're throwing this one away. Now, like Jack 3-4-5, Jack 3-4-6 with a suited Jack opening on the button, I would say. Interesting Buddha checks back. I think a lot of people in general tend to fire this board if checked to way too often, and you definitely should be checking on this board at some, I think a fair bit. If I somehow had my hand, I would go ahead and raise river, but I do not. Sometimes it is, I would say, conducive occasionally to go ahead and like try to trap in that situation, but ace deuce 10 7 here. Now this is a hand like this is a 3-bet. The ace, the wheel, a suit in your hand, the Broadway card. 7's not the best card to have, but still totally fine. Here we flop an ace with a gut shot. I think like range on range is probably close, but I do have the aces, but I'm going to check this one. I still have a backdoor Broadway draw. Call again one more time. And river, I think we just check the ace 10 and hope to when we have a little showdown value here. And he has king queen 4-5. Definitely something to take note of because like that hand is definitely not an open. Ironically, had he bet the river, I'm probably calling just because like now I can beat ace 6. Jack 3-4 here in the cutoff, I believe, is a fold. It's just a little bit, I think it's a little bit too rough here in the hijack. On the button, it would open his hand. But had he bet the river, yeah, I'd probably call just because I can beat ace 6 and I can beat some of the combos of like the 2, 3, 4s and like some of the other low draws there. But I will make a note that Timmy opened king queen 4-5. And I think that was the hijack. 08. Single suited. Or single. Let's go single suited. So that's definitely good to know. Now, again, you can't necessarily equate like a mistake pre-flop into basically someone making mistakes in other games. You definitely have to watch it. That's one of the things too about the mixed games is a lot of times like a player who might be really, really, really good in one of the games, or really, really bad in one of the games. I think a lot of people like attempt to translate that over to, being like, they'll just generalize and say like that player is really bad or that player is really good. But you just kind of have to watch and see just how they play. 10-6 here is a defend in the big blind and hold them. Board texture, kind of close between, like, I think this is just a call. I actually think this is just a check again with a 6. Probably on that river, I think I'm folding now. Be an interesting one to actually run in Pio. But, interesting, maybe I could just bet fold the turn. I'm just thinking about it a little bit, but, ace queen 6 is definitely one of those boards where like if you defend a lot of hands in the big blind, a lot of times you're on a board texture like ace queen 6, when you have a lot of hands, if you fold a lot of your hands on the flop, you're raising a lot on the flop as well. Yeah, it'd be an interesting one to run. personally don't use Pio right now, but I have a lot of friends that use it, so I might ask them about that one. But the board runs out so bad, I just fold anyways. Again, too, like that check on the turn that I make, when I check that turn, like I think like Dimmy in Solver World, like Dimmy would just be betting like almost any pair on that board for value. Maybe not 7, but like any queen, any jack. Interesting check back there with 2 jacks. I guess I would have to run that one again. But queen seems still like a card that you just kind of like, sometimes you value tally yourself, meaning like sometimes you just let's see if this one's up or not. No, that one's not up. Oh, that one is up. Okay, hold on one second. Sometimes you just, bet for value and just get called by worse hand. But let's just run this one really quick. I'm just kind of curious what happened here. So bet raise on the gun. I think king 10 off is actually a fold, and then he gets 3-bet by jacks, and surf bum calls. I think surf bum calls, right? Yeah, he calls and calls. I'm gonna pause for a second here because I do have a I think ace 3 suited to the under the gun open is a fold. One of those hands I definitely have to go back and look at a later time. But a fair bit of the suited aces are 3-bets and 6-handed limit hold'em. Fold the ace 4. So let's go back to this hand real quick. I'm not sure why that blew up. Why did it blow up on me? Let's see here. Sorry about that. Gotta change the window. I'm not sure why. We can just run it like this. This is fine. So he bets, the jacks bet, get check raise, get 3-bet by the 10, call jacks, call. Turns a 4. 10 bets, call, raise, call, and call. Interesting. Well, we're gonna have to play a 7-card stud hand here. We do have jack 8 9. We have overcards the entire board plus 3 suited plus they are connected. So jack 8 9 here is going to be an open. And this one, honestly, I think this is a hand I'm going to 3-bet against Nathan. I think he's a little bit he's pretty aggressive, honestly. We do make pair of 9s. All my overcards were live. I love that 10 of spades. Now we catch 3 spades. We're just still doing any betting. We're not necessarily like too concerned about this board at this point. An interesting run out. 2 7s I think are actually dead though, so I'm still betting. I mean, okay. Queen jack I guess is possible. I mean 7's possible too. We do make 9s full. We're gonna go for check raise. Yeah, easy check raise on this river. If we get 3-bet, I think we're calling. No, we're probably 3-betting actually. Yeah. Good one to consider bluffing, I guess, if he folds there too. 3-3 ace. Now this is definitely a hand where your overcards matter. Like a lot of times, depending on what the ante size is if like the 7 say completes and comes over the top, then like if I can isolate with the 3 and get Nathan out of this pot, then I definitely want to call. The reason being is because like now my overcard's live and I'm doing okay against like Nathan, not necessarily both. Nathan catches open 6s here. Not much I can really do. I just probably have to fold 5th Street, even though I do have a dead 6. And 10 9 5 here, I'm gonna fold. Sorry, going back to that limit hold'em hand too over here. So on the turn, Mr. Shadow did raise, and Nathan called, and then Mr. Shadow called, or sorry, bet called, and then the river is a queen, and Mr. Shadow has an interesting spot here, I think, because I don't think Nathan here ever has the best hand. The reason I think that I don't think Nathan ever has the best hand is because like if he has 2 pair in this situation, or if he has like an overpair at this point, I think theoretically we're gonna fold the jack 4 7 here. There was a dead jack as well. Then I mean he's basically kind of just playing his hand against bet, and bet didn't 4-bet pre-flop, so and he hasn't really put any more action at this point. Ace 5-8 here, fold. Sorry, I'm saying a lot because I'm going back and forth between the hands. But I don't think Nathan's hand's ever good, and Bet didn't 4-bet preflop, so he shouldn't have like any of these big pairs. So I think his Mr. Shadow's hand here is actually close to a bet on this river. They check, and it goes eights, king 10, and jacks. So easy steal here with the ace deuce 9. And that is 7-card stud. And let's see here, Badeucey deuce to 7. 7, 5, 4, 3, 2 is the best low hand. 5, 4, 3, 2 rainbow is the best Badugi. There is no qualifier for low. But yeah, as we can see, going back to Limit Hold'em over here. Yeah, I think the jacks, if the jack raise turn and get called and no one else puts a bet in, like the queen is kind of a relative brick. I don't think like anyone here, unless a random person has like the queen jack of diamonds or the ace queen of diamonds or like a diamond draw with a queen, jacks are pretty nutted. You do block some of the combos of like queen jack suited. Obviously you don't have diamonds though, so I don't know. I think his hand is kind of close to a bet on that river because that's like a theoretical fun one if you do have the munker ranges to run a munker, but that would be interesting, to say the least. Interesting hands there. I guess Buddha's hand makes sense. Demi comes up with a pretty rough hand, but does get half. 3-4 here. We'll defend even against Nathan's under the gun range if it folds to us, and we do call. We'll take 3. Interesting. I think we still break here and draw 2 out of position in 3, 4, 5. We could theoretically check raise and draw and pat this hand, but I think with the 3, 4, 5 here out of position against Nathan's range, I think check calling's a little bit better. We effectively kind of make the same hand. And I think we check call and pat this one now. It's kind of close, but I think we also pat this hand. I don't think we break and draw again. It depends on how often we think that Nathan is like how dead our our deuce to 7 hand is. And sometimes it's dead, but like against 10-10, like we scoop. So obviously if we break this hand, then it's a really bad break. So I did kind of pip him there, range on range, but if he's like over patting the 10-10s, again, like 3, 6, 8 here, I think we do have the 8, but we're gonna with the extra 6, we're gonna open this one. Let's see if I can pull that one back up too. If given the chance, I think we'll open deuce 7. And we will open deuce 7 here. Give me a second. 3, 3. We do throw away the 9 spades just as like a little note. It's kind of close keeping the 7, to be completely honest here. Against the 1-card draw, I think I'm gonna keep it, I think. Now that we make the 8, I think we're still calling. We have a 9 and deuce. Ace doesn't necessarily help us, but I still think we're drawing here in position. Now we make 2, 3, 4, and an 87 low. If he bets, we probably just call, and if he checks, we probably just we definitely bet, but here I think we just call. He does have a 10 Badugi. Kind of interesting which way he was going there. He could have had either one, to be completely honest. He could have had the 10 Badugi, or he could have had the 7 draw with the 3-card 7. Let's see, I want to go back to that hand against Nathan here if I can. But I also think too, Nathan's hand, let's see if I can go back here. Let's see if I can make it a little smaller again. We have another Badeucey hand here. Again, this is an example of a Badeucey hand where like your 3-card 7 is playable with 4, 6, 7, but in deuce to 7, just normal deuce to 7 triple draw this hand is not playable. But again, you have Badugi equity where in deuce to 7 you don't. So you're playing for both sides of the pot with this hand. Small blind calls, it'd be interesting. Like this is kind of an interesting hand to consider bluffing, but you can't really. I mean, it's just so hard to bluff in this game that we're not going to do it. Does take 2 again. We'll just take note that we threw away 2 hearts. And we do get bet into, and I think we're going to end up folding this one. 3-card 7, I think, is like kind of rough. Obviously, I could call here and draw 1 to the 9. The pot is like relatively small though. Yeah, I think it's probably fine. Queen Jack off deuce here under the gun. 40 bigs. We'll go back to that Badeucey hand here in a second if we get the chance. And then against the 3-bet, my guess is a Queen Jack is a fold. What size is that? Is that like 3.5x? No, it's definitely a fold. I don't have to worry about that one now. And they have what they represented. Queens hold that one. Still try to go over the Badeucey here in a second. Give me a sec, guys. Let's see here. It's muck the 7 deuce. So, sorry. Windows being a little finicky with me over here. We can play it like this though, so this will be fine in a minute. I don't know what I have. Oh, got another fold. So, we call in the big blind against Nathan, and he takes 2. We make the 3-5. This one versus the other one, I was out of position, so I think drawing smoother at the smoother is a little bit better. And he pats again after the first draw. Then we pat. Well, we actually got a hand in element hold'em here, so I don't want to 6x it. My goodness. Here, let's make it 55. Ace King. Calling all shoves. Well, calling shoves, I guess. I'm just trying to think in like what world it goes, like raise, but yeah, we're still calling this one. We're flipping. Oh, need help. No help. It's a way to get back even. Just win the flips at no limit. 5 here. But going back to this one here, again, I think like patting this hand is like, okay, the only question here is like, should I break and draw 1 at the Badugi? So I have like the 9-5 Badugi. I'm never folding that one at this point. So, and then when Nathan elects to, when I pat here and he pats behind, it's fine. But I don't think he should ever bet his hand. Like he's drawing dead, I think 100% for one side of the pot 100% of the time. So if that's the case, he's not free rolling. He's actually getting free rolled, meaning that I don't like his bet. He should just check back and like take whatever equity that he thinks he has. We go to the next game. Badugi. That 8 under the gun, I believe, is fold. Is some of the smoother 8s we open because I believe we can, because we can improve to a smoother 8. Close this one out here. Yeah, close the hand history out. 4, 3, 2, 1 rainbow is the best hand. If you don't make a Badugi, the best 3 card will win. So the best 3 card is 3, 2, 1 rainbow. Deuce 6 here in the big blind against an under the gun open. Probably a fold. 1 a little smoother. Because when you're smoother, that means it's easier to catch up with the 3 card, but with this specific combo, I think it's just a give up. Something like ace-6 might actually be a call, but like ace-5 definitely a call. Not 3-handed. Obviously, heads up. What do we have next? We have Badugi, stud 8. We only have 2 more and we're done. Wow, this actually played a lot faster than I thought it did. Jack 5 versus Jack 8. I think Nathan did bet the river and Mr. Shadow called. Mr. Shadow's call is totally fine. The only real question there is if Nathan should bet the river. I think in these games he definitely should, just because players tend to be a little bit sticky. 3 card 7 here in the small blind, like even this is the worst card. 3 card 7, it's still an open. Range on range with a 3 card 6 improvement. I still think this is a bet. I think we probably actually just bet down the river with a 3 card 6 against my opponent. And I'm kind of like improving a little bit here too. Break. And then on river, I think we probably check call with a 3 card 6. Yeah, he does have a 3 card 7. I expected something of those lines. When we didn't get raised on any street. Ace 7 here on the button, 6-handed. I think this one's a fold. Ace 3 would be an open if folded to us. Does it play that fast? We run around that quick, huh? Wow, that was really, really quick. All right, cool. Even though we do have a couple diamonds here, this is a little bit too rough to open. If we had the 4, 6, 7, 8 of diamonds, that would be a really good candidate to snow with right off the bat. Not even sure if I undersnow pre-draw in this game or not, but definitely if I have 4 cards, 8 or under in a 6-handed game, I'm going to go for it. You just don't get those suited hands like that too often. Bet is Pat. Definitely bet can have probably every single Badugi here, and it's kind of one of those situations where if you decide to 3-bet with every single Badugi, you can get yourself in a really big pickle multi-way, but yeah. And I think if he does have every single Badugi, he should be doing a fair bit of folding to that check raise. All right, stud 8 or better, last game here in this wonderful mix of the Dirty Dozen. Again, the best 5-card stud high hand will win all or half the pot. If you qualify for low, it is going to be 5 cards 8 or under unpaired. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the best low. Interesting street here. Obviously, Buddha caught basically his Jin card on 4 street. And then Mr. Shadow kind of improved a little bit, but I still think this ace deuce is probably a little bit ahead of this range right here. And then Buddha bricks off twice. Mr. Shadow improves. Interesting that Buddha's thinking about it. I wonder if he's got like just a pair of 2s or 3s or something like that. Definitely with aces, you should be like big pairs should be calling, no question. And kind of once he gets to this river, he's somewhat in a pickle, I'd say, if he still has like a small 1-pair hand. If he's got like something like 3s, now 4s beat him, but I guess I do have 3 in my hand. Maybe he's thinking of calling with ace queen high. Busted flush possible. He does call him with ace king high. Moves this to a pair of 8s. All right, split queens here. This definitely isn't like stud high. This is usually like a playable hand in stud 8. It becomes less valuable just because obviously the low hands have so much value. You can do some limping here. Do have a king behind me too, even if the ace folds. He does open though, so we are going to let this one go. Again, if you think I'm a nit or if I'm playing terrible, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. deuce 3-9. It'd be interesting to see how this one opens. Again, I think Nathan probably opens here at a pretty high clip. You know, when the funny thing here is too is if you can like point to them before they make an action and then they do it, usually that's a sign they're probably opening a little bit too wide. And then Dimmy here calling, he usually has like a flush draw or like split nines. I'm gonna let this one go. I am getting a good price, but again, I do have that almighty 9 in the hole. If I had an overcard to the 9, it might be a little bit more interesting. And Nathan catches pretty good, and Dimmy just folds. Deuce 6 here. We're probably defending for 1 bet. If it goes multiple way, like I don't think the Jack or 9 should be raising too much into the ace here, but Dimmy's raising here 100%, so we're defending the deuce 6. And again, like the rainbow here, we're gonna be doing a fair bit of calling. Oh, that is an interesting card. I think we just call here. But his range is 100%, so we're still calling. And now it gets really interesting. Man, I really want to run this hand now. It's kind of gross. Because he did bet into me on 5th Street when I do have the 8s and 6s though, so I think I'm calling. Wow, I have 8s and 6s and deuces. So, I mean, if he's got aces, like, good for him. But, man, I block a lot of his 2-carat pair combinations, so I guess we're calling. And he does have 8s and he does have aces and 6s. Yeah, that's a tough one. Probably run that one back a little bit. But, again, like, if it was stud high, that hand would have been a lot more interesting just because when he makes aces on 4th Street and he's got 100%, it's a lot different. But my board ran off deuce 6, and his board is open aces. Meaning, like, if I continue there, he doesn't just get to bet open aces on every street. Like, on 6th Street, when he bets ace 8, his hand is... He can't just bet there 100%. Like, if he's got queen jack in the hole, and I call open aces, if I called him on 4th Street, if I call him on 3rd Street and I call him on 4th Street, and my board runs out like that on 5th Street, if he bets there 100%, I think he's losing money. So he can't just do that every single time. With that being said, I had a lot of the pairs that block him, and he has basically 100% range. So that might be one of the hands in the future that I would consider running and maybe like just doing a little small video at the end to kind of see what that one happens. But yeah, we've played all the games. So again, as always, guys, if you like what you see, please like and subscribe. Questions and comments below. If you guys need to get a hold of me, my email's down below. If you guys want to record up to 1 hour on Phenom and send it to me, I will do the review. And if you guys are looking to open a Phenom account, there's a link below, or use code LMG. But until then, play well. I will talk to you guys soon. Good luck on the tables. Bye-bye.